Hello everyone, I'm back here with part 6 of my iPad Go-To breakdown series. In this video I'll be covering specifically the events of 2026, okay, the year of the horse. All my parts kind of build upon each other, so please go see my previous videos for the previous years, okay? I'm covering everything from 2023 basically on to 2030 and beyond, which I believe are the events shown in iPad Go-To. Just quickly, the first revelation I've had that's changed the timeline is that each one of these heads in the classroom represents a year. Okay, so it's the passing of time, and specifically after the apple is dropped, it begins to show the events from 2023 on to 2030. Okay. Each one of the heads in the classroom, I believe, also represents the top or bottom of the stock market in its representative year. Okay, so in 2020, we had the big market crash due to the medical event, and then a big rebound in 2021, which gives us the predictability to look at further on down the road what might happen to the market based on events. Okay. The other revelation is that every time we see this human spirit figure, okay, I believe it's a cutscene into a new year. Okay, so if every time we see this character after this apple is dropped in the classroom scene, I believe that signifies the step from one calendar year or Chinese New Year into the next. Okay. So 2026, the year of the horse, I think that symbolically this year of the horse is representing the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse from the Bible. I think we are getting into Revelations now. That would be the seals of Revelation, okay, the first 4 seals, which starts in chapter 6. Okay, so bear with me as I go through this. I don't want to go too fast, but I want to get all the information out. So the Chinese New Year's are what are used in iPad Go-To, not calendar years. Okay, so 2026 is the year of the horse. Just know that Heliofont uses these Chinese New Years instead of calendar years because this gives Heliofont the ability to use imagery, okay, for the passing of time. So know that 2026 actually begins on February 17th and ends on February 7th, 2027, okay, for the year of the horse. So as I said before, every time you see this human spirit character is cutscene into the next year. So the last part I covered the war, which I believe is a strike in Turkey. Okay, so after 2025 ends, we see the cutscene where the peace symbol is burned. Okay, and then we immediately jump into the scene where the dancing character is being blown back. Okay, so in 2026, which I think is showing the 4 horses of the apocalypse, I think we're going to get all 4 seals released in this year. So part 1, we have the dancer being blown back. Part 2 is the explosion being shown. Part 3 is the unwrapping, okay, of a gun child robot. Part 4 is the hammer and sickle being smothered. Part 5 is the tank scene, and part 6 is the skeleton. Okay, so I'll go through each one of these. So the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, this is from Revelations books, chapter 6, okay, the first 4 seals. The 4 horsemen is actually in order. Seal number 1 is conquest, seal number 2 is war, seal number 3 is famine, and seal number 4 is death. Okay, obviously in Wikipedia they'd reverse them for no reason at all. So let's jump into the first scene here. So part 1 is the dancer being thrown back violently. So immediately, as soon as we jump into 2026, expect this explosion. Okay, so like I said, 2026 begins on February 17th, 2026. So immediately at that point, expect this event to be happening. So further confirmation of that is when we jump into this scene. This is, I think, the actual explosion that causes the dancer to be pushed back. So this scene is very important, I think. We finally see that the bomb is used. Okay, is it nuclear? Not sure. It sure looks like a nuclear type of explosion. I think that this is, like I said, the first seal being unleashed. There was a bow given unto a bow and a crown given to a man to go and to conquer. Okay, so I think that this is the first seal being opened up, is this conquering of some region in the Middle East. Okay, so I'll cover that, the location, a little bit more. Time frame wise, as I've said before, Heliofont likes to use eclipses and everything to show the passage of time. Okay, so if we look here, we see the red circle around her head. Is this the annular eclipse of February 17th and 18th of 2026? So as I said before, the year starts exactly on February 17th, okay, for the Chinese New Year. This scene is shown immediately. So it's almost as if right on February 17th or 18th, 2026, this event is going to take place. So location-wise, where is this going to happen? We're given a few indications. We see the woman wearing the hijab, scarab beetle, and a woman holding a bottle of purple dye. Okay, we even see the shell. Okay, so this purple dye, if we look at Tyrian purple, there's a specific purple dye that's very sought after, or prized, that comes only from this specific gland from a sea snail, and these sea snails only live in the Mediterranean or off the coast of Morocco. Okay, so I believe that this event has to happen somewhere in the region shown on this map. Based on my previous video, I showed that I think the first attack with the bombers and the mosque is going to happen in the Golden Horn region of Turkey, Istanbul. Okay, so I believe that this could actually happen somewhere more on this eastern side of the Mediterranean. And what a perfect spot to have it happen right in the middle of the world. Okay, so I believe this is, like I said, seal number 1 being opened up with the purple dye. Okay, part 3, we see this child having a gun being unwrapped, okay, by some sort of pirate figure with dark skin, a dark skin complexion. I think the pirate tattoo signifies the Somali pirates. This is just due to world programming of where pirates come from. So I think that this is really signifying the unwrapping of war across Africa. Okay. What better place? I think this war, this greatest of all time war that they're trying to create, has to affect the entire world. So first of all, we have this explosion up here, which will affect the Mediterranean, Europe, okay, the Middle East. And then we have this one, which will affect Africa, okay? So time frame wise, the robot's eyes are red and then blink out. So there is an actual total lunar eclipse, a red moon eclipse that will happen on March 2nd and 3rd of 2026. So expect war to be unleashed or unwrapped in Africa around this time, possibly. This is so similar to the verbiage in Revelation 6:4, okay, seal number 2, where a sword was given unto a man to go and make war. So very similar here, that it's like a gun is given unto this child robot to go and make war. Okay, I don't know how else to link it up, but it seems very clear to me. Now this scene here, part 4, okay, we have the hammer and sickle, the man drowning with the hammer and sickle. For the history of the last 100 years, the hammer and sickle has actually represented the mix between agriculture and industry. Okay, so this is a communist symbol representing proletarian solidarity between agricultural and industrial workers. Okay, so it's essentially showing that the sickle and the hammer represent that we have agriculture. Okay, and this man seems to be being buried with this hammer and sickle. So is this that agriculture is no longer possible? Is this famine? that is going to be coming. Like the industry is like agriculture is no longer happening, and essentially famine is going to be striking the world. Okay, there's references here, so location-wise, references to Juanita with his tattoo. Okay, I believe Juanita, I've seen other people break down, could be reference to South America or Central America. Okay, so I think, again, as this world war has to affect everybody, this scene is showing that it's going to hit South America with famine, okay, or Central America. Time frame wise, oh, sorry, time frame, that's from the previous one. Okay. So for the four horsemen of the apocalypse, this one is clearly famine, which is Revelation 6:5, okay, seal number 3. Okay, the pale, the man with the balances in his hands, okay. And moving on to part 5, okay, we have the tank scene. So tanks are being used to conquer here and kill, okay. So there is the woman with the tattoo, okay, who tries to intervene. As we've seen this before, covered by many people, Angelina Jolie clearly has this very distinctive tiger tattoo, which is literally in the exact same shape almost. Just insane. She served as a goodwill ambassador and a special envoy to the UN. So expect possibly in 2026 for Angelina Jolie to reappear on the scene to possibly stop this this death. Okay. So is this a takeover of a United Nations country? Okay, so could this be a reference to the Tiananmen Square? I think that's obvious, right, with the tank scene. So is this China's takeover of Taiwan or the region? Okay. As in Revelations, seal number 4 tells us that the nation, this rider is given a quarter of the earth, okay, power over the quarter of the earth to kill. So if we look at Asia, could China be given more power to go and create destruction and death across Asia? So time frame wise for this scene, the ring on the skeleton's finger, okay, when the skeleton grabs this woman, the finger, like the ring on his finger clearly blinks. These again are references to, I think, the eclipses, okay, especially the ring eclipse, which happens on August 12th, 2026. We do have a ring eclipse, a total eclipse. So expect this scene to be, you know, taking place around summertime of 2026. And finally, part 6 is the Day of the Dead scene, I think. So as soon as they show the skeleton here, seems to be having, you know, some sort of celebration. So I think we end 2026 with this scene, who seems to stop the woman from intervening in the conquest, okay, the death. So it seems like the Day of the Dead, which always occurs on November 1st and 2nd, I think that this is signifying the passage of time, okay, so all this death and war and everything, it's never going to stop. It's going to continue on into 2026. Even, you know, people will continue to celebrate even while all this is going on, but essentially the skeleton also represents death, okay? So from the tank scene, we're moving into Revelations 4, our seal number 4, and death is being spread across the world, and I think that this skeleton scene just reiterates that nothing's going to get in its way, and we're going to continue into 2026 in the same situation, okay? If we link back to the classroom scene, the height of head of 2026, okay, so this is the 2026 character here sitting down, seems very depressed. So from 2025 down to 2026, we have a huge drop. So a major market crash, I think, is what is associated with this world war, okay? But in 2027, next year, we have a massive increase again. So is there just a major market recovery again due to this war industrial complex? I wouldn't give it. I think the elites do this all the time. And this is another way of reinvigorating